Hello, folks. We're here at the talking with,
Fire Marshal Don Gibson with Mohave Valley Fire Department.
and this is the latest information regarding the Willow fire that's burning in Mohave Valley, Arizona, and it started back on Saturday, August the 8th, 2015. First, what time, do you have a time when this fire started?
Approximately 10 o'clock in the morning.
What's the latest that's on it?
Latest is the fire's a little over 6,000 acres. This morning they released that it was 10% contained. They expect that number to go up dramatically this evening. We had some evacuations from the Aquaview subdivision, the Arizona Indian Village, Marina Coves, Tangerine Terrace, Colorado River Terrace, River Delta, and Topac Lake Rancheros, with road closures on County Route 1 from Aquarius to Golden Shores, and from Plantation all the way to Ranchero, with Vanderslice in between.
I'm just going to get you to turn a little more where the light is. So as of right now, the areas that are now able to go in,
all of the areas have been, the evacuation has been released for all the areas except Topac Lake Rancheros. That area will be open for the homeowners to return to their homes tomorrow morning at 10 a.m.
What about road closures currently?
Road closures currently, County Route 1 from Aquarius to Golden Shores is closed to fire traffic only and utility traffic. Plantation past Mountain View down to the fire to Ranchero is closed, and Vanderslice is closed.
Now, for those who may not be familiar, County 1, is there a name for the road?
It's also known as Courtright.
Okay. What's we heard different numbers about structures. What's the latest on structure?
The last number that I had were there's approximately 18 structures that have been destroyed. That's homes and travel trailers and mobile homes or motor homes in that area. And that was the last count that we had.
Any fatalities or injuries related to this fire?
No fatalities, no injuries to the public, and no injuries to the firefighters.
How many resources or how many firefighters are fighting on this, and resources how far wide are?
We have the Southwest Incident Management Team in their crew here, and we have approximately 300 firefighters on the scene. I believe he said there's 3 dozers and a couple of helicopters working. We had aircraft on Sunday flying the area as well.
Then also too, what do you call it? I know that this fire has this ever been has there ever been a big fire like this? A big fire as great as this, how large it spread and how many people were affected?
Yes, approximately 20 years ago we had the Ice House fire. It was just a little over 5,000 acres, and it did burn through the same subdivision at that time, and it was the same type of fuels. It didn't move as quick as this fire did.
I think a lot of people, and of course they had the press conference today. The public was welcome to, and that is current. We're uploading that right now on Zach News. It sounds like a lot of questions, a lot of concerns, and I know I've been out there since the fire started. It's got really bad and burned a lot of areas. A lot of them are upset. They want more information right away, and some are worried that their pets are okay, or are they going to be able to get back in? Can you address some of those different concerns, including about the concerns about checking up with their animals, being able to go in and get at least medications and that, those who are not able to go right now in, or who hasn't been clear, and also about the whole confusion about the information thing?
The whole confusion about the information thing is we're a small rural department. All of our resources were extremely busy in the beginning, in this incident, and we didn't have a quick, easy way to release this stuff to the media. That's why we had such a delay in getting it out to the media. And we are currently working on some solutions with that. I am working with my fire chief with some ideas to be able to get this information out better. We will do an after-action meeting on this to kind of do some roundtabling and come up with some better ways to help us be better doing our job that'll work for us being a small rural department.
And then the other question is, what about those who want to right now go? If those who are not been allowed, and those who are still have to wait till the next day to go in on and to be able to go to the day, and they want to get some medicine or check on their animals, what's being done, or what do you want to tell people about?
As far as their animals go, the animals that were let free, the animals that are in the property, the fire department, the firefighters that are in the area, and the sheriff's department that are in the area are mindful of their animals. They're doing their best to protect them. If they're working on properties and there's troughs and stuff like that, before they leave, they're dropping water. Of course, they can't just go grab food and throw out there for them, but there's a lot of natural vegetation and stuff for most of the animals that are out there that will suffice until property owners can get back in.
Now, a little bit on that, on the information thing, there was some confusion, and I even got approached by a couple of the sheriffs and tribal police about the evacuation center. There was a confusion that those who wanted to be, or being evacuated were going to go to Needles, but then later it was like, no, that's not true. It was going to the elementary school, but another outlet was reporting the information, and there was that thing. But so the riddle, can you tell us which of course I think everybody knows now, but just for everybody.
The Red Cross shelter is set up at Mohave Valley Elementary School on Willow Drive. That was the only place that was set up. Now, we were advised by Needles that the rodeo grounds were available for large animals. The elementary school with the Northern Arizona Humane Society has a place to be able to house people's small pets, but they can't take large animals. So that may have been where the confusion was. The rodeo grounds have been set up to be able to take people's large animals to the rodeo ground.
And of course, now that some people are able to go back, is though there's not a lot. The shelter's not full now. It's like it's
no, the shelter's not full. It still has the residents from Topac Lake Rancheros that have been staying there because they are not going to be released to go back in there until 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. Now,
I know a couple of people brought up the electricity, and also another issue about anything that's a little bit dangerous, hazardous stuff, anything like, and I have went through that myself, and about those, you might think the ground is stable, but then you might, and then a couple of years ago there was a fire that I felt the burning sensation on that one. What should people know about, first, the hazardous stuff, things to keep aware of, if you're being allowed to go into property, what they need to do to be safe while they're doing so?
First of all, people that are being let back into the property, they need to be properly clothed when they go in there. They need to have shoes on, not sandals and flip-flops. They need to be wearing jeans and shirts, and have a good situational awareness of your property. Watch what you're walking into. Don't just walk in blindly like there's nothing happened at your house. Use some caution, because the salt cedar and the mesquite that are in the area, they have a bad tendency of growing root systems that we can't see them, and they burn underground, and they create those sinkholes or those stump holes that the incident command team talked about in our press release. That the ground can look perfectly sound. You walk across, and you could probably walk across it 2 or 3 times and not have a problem, and then all of a sudden fall through it. So always pay attention to watch your footing.
And that's the thing. I learned it the hard way, and it's very important. That. What about the other issue about, like, so they mentioned about during the press conference, or the public press conference, of the hazardous material stuff, to spray down, clean down?
They were talking about the retardant from the airplane drop. We call it getting painted every once in a while whenever those guys paint our engines orange. That stuff is it's made up with some fertilizer and some other materials, but it's eco-friendly. So you can wash that stuff off. Of course, if it stays there too long, it's going to stain.
Okay.
But it can be washed off. It can be allowed to be rinsed onto the ground. It's not going to hurt your water source, and so on and so forth.
What about power? Will people be able to have power on? Is there any areas that need to be worked on because of down power lines?
MEC is still in the area. They're trying to wrap some of it up now. Pretty much, from what I understand, from Canal out to County Route 1, a lot of that power has been restored. The worst hit area along Cheyenne, they've still got, from what I understand, like 8 poles to put back up. So they're hoping to have that whole subdivision back up by tomorrow night at 1800 hours.
The other thing is about the what do you call those, propane? Is it propane tanks? That was the other thing that was brought. Any concerns about those?
Propane tanks. If you have any propane tanks that were damaged by fire, and you have a company that delivers propane, you need to have that company come out, inspect your propane tank to make sure that it is safe, and check for leaks. Some of the firefighters went through and may have turned off your propane, so you'll have, once it's deemed safe by the propane company, if there's no fire damage to it, then you can pretty much turn it back on and you can relight your pilot lights, but you need to make sure you light your pilot lights. Be mindful for that pungent rotten egg odor from propane and natural gas. And of course, in the event something are you guys going to be still, the fire department crews are going to be all around still, just making sure everything's okay? So if someone does smell something, can they? Yes, there is still going to be crews working in the area. The operations chief said in our meeting that you can talk to those firefighters that are out there working, and they may be able to assist you in evaluating your property, or you can always call the fire department here at 928-768-9113, and we will do our best to see if we can get people out there to take care of you and answer your questions. Now, the cause of the fire, and that seems to be everyone's kind of like, are you sure? And that brings up to the second question out there, but the cause of the fire is what? Has there been the cause of the fire at this time is under investigation. Okay. Because there was earlier reports that it was possibly lightning, and some are questioning, like, well, there was no thunderstorm, at least for the last 2 days, and there was one a couple of days ago, but then, that is a possibility because of the river bottom fuels. You could get a lightning strike in river bottom fuels, and it sit there and smolder and really not put off a lot of smoke until the heat rises and the humidity drops and it gets that right breeze to take off. So that is a possibility. It hasn't been ruled out. It hasn't been determined that that's what the cause is. As of now, the fire is under investigation. Was there any other control burns? Because I know when I got to the scene, there was the fire nearest to the river, and then there was another smaller fire to the north of that, more closer to, I would say, Courtright, maybe just south of Courtright, but it's to the north of Plantation Road. When did you get down there? Were you down there early on? A little bit early on, yes. Okay. The second fire that you saw north of the main body of the fire was a spot fire. Okay. From the fire. It spotted over a mile away. And I noticed that afterwards, when the fire spread, there was little other ones. Do you know how many spot fires? Some people were saying there looked like there was a lot of them at one point. I can't even speculate. There's a question, and of course I want to afterwards to basically give details about where people can go on that. But this question that even concerned me, and this is right after everyone was told to leave. I was down there filming, and as the fire got worse, of course, authorities came. It was both the Fort Mohave Indian Tribal Police, I think I got that right, and the Mohave County Sheriff's Office or Sheriff's Department? Sheriff's Department? Sheriff's Office. Sheriff's Office, because the thing is, they were telling everybody to leave. They said mandatory backup, everyone leaves. When I got to ask them about the fire, and so, are you guys, what's going to happen? Are you guys calling in resources and that? I was told by several of those deputies and officers that they're letting this burn. That this was going to be let burn because we don't have a lot of resources.
and we have to let this fire burn because we didn't have enough resources. Did this fire did they have to let it burn? Was that a decision that was made, or is that not true?
There was never a decision made that we were going to just let this fire burn. Yes, we had limited resources. I was one of the ones calling in resources. I called in resources from the entire county. I got every available resource that I could within the county. This was a big weekend. We had the River Regatta in Bullhead. We had a funeral for a firefighter in Kingman, and there were some other events going on around the county. And so all the departments were already stressed, and every department in this county that could send resources did send resources, and they got here as soon as they could.
Did anybody refuse not to help?
No.
And I want to ask about that, and knowing, and maybe people may not understand that. As you can see, it's a tough right now to try to put something, how to get resources out there and that. How are you feeling after all this fire and that, and
There is not a single fire district or department in this county that can do it all by themselves. That's why we have a Mohave County mutual aid agreement. There's also a state mutual aid agreement that we work with our brothers and our sisters, and we help support them, and they help support us. We've had that agreement for years and years and years, and it works for us. With the economic downturn and stuff like that, not all of us can fully fund 5-man fire engines or even 4-man fire engines. We struggle to get the manning that we have and keep it within a reasonable amount.
Is there someone else? I just read. Someone mentioned there was a fire break line that is going to be maintained.
There used to be a fire break that was maintained along that back area behind the homes on Cheyenne. That land is all tribal land. It was maintained by private property owners, and they got to a point where they couldn't maintain it anymore. That property, I'm part of the Mohave County Multi-Jurisdiction Mitigation Planning Team and part of the Fort Mohave Indian Tribe Multi-Jurisdiction Mitigation Planning Team. And that area is one of the areas that was part of our plan to reopen that fire break and recreate it. After this, my plan is to work with the tribe and see if there's a way that we can get that maintained, either through them doing it or them allowing the private people to do it, wherever we can get the funding or however we can get the help to do it.
Are you getting support to have that happen as soon as possible after this fire?
So far, everything seems to be going well with that. I have not had a chance to talk with the tribal council chair or his second in command, or I don't remember what they called the second guy. But we've had a good working relationship with the tribe, a very good working relationship with the tribe. I've had some conversations with the director of emergency response for the Indian tribe, and he is with me on trying to get this worked out.
Now, to wrap up here, okay, if people want to get more information, are they able to come here they look like they have a little bit of an area now where they kind of set up, well, now there's a little meeting going on where they can maybe go here, get information. There's a website. How long is the shelter going to be up? Basically the rundown information that people need to know, everyone there.
As of right now, you can go, if you have Facebook access, you can go to Willow Fire AZ on Facebook for the most up-to-date information, or INCIWeb, short for incident, INCI web.gov, or just put in INCIWeb, Google it, and it will bring you up to the website, and that will give you the latest information on the fire. Make sure that you go to the drop-down box and search by state, because there is several other Willow fires, and I think that's where some of the confusion in the beginning was with information.
How long is the shelter is going to be open till?
The shelter, I know for right now, is going to be open at least through tomorrow. There's a possibility that we may be transitioning into a recovery type deal with the Red Cross, to where they can start helping some of those homeowners that lost all of their property to start recovering and filing the right paperwork and so on and so forth to be able to get their property replaced.
For those who maybe want to need help finding their pets and all that, is there a number or anybody to contact regarding that if they need a little help, or maybe they have the animal that went to the shelters, or any number to reach to
most of the animals that are currently in the shelter were taken there by their owners.
Okay.
I'm working on trying to put together an information line or some information here to where people can call here, and if their animals were put into a corral, I can find out where those are at. It's still the same number, 928-768-9113. I am not going to shut that line down. We will continue to answer it 24 hours a day, even if it's to take your information and pass it to the next person to get you called back, until the incident command team gets their information number up.
Any other information that needs to be known for the public, any of the residents, if can they come here and talk to anybody here in person if they don't have the internet or no way of doing that?
The incident command team, we're looking at putting some areas around where we can post the information as well. The Red Cross site here, possibly the post office and a few other sites. We need to still have that meeting and discuss where we're going to put that up.
Finally, any messages to all the people that have helped out in fighting this fire? Because I saw so many fire trucks going. I think saw even a couple from way out in like Imperial County, way out there, coming to here to help out.
There are so many different agencies on this fire, and that's the way it is with all big fires. You get agencies from all over the United States sometimes, and I know our department just wants to tell them thank you, and we.
And to all the people that are right now opening their doors to those who are affected by this fire, what do you like to tell those people that are, saying, hey, we need to help our neighbors here? What do you want to tell those?
We want to tell those people that are helping their neighbors out, thank you very much. We appreciate it. We know that those residents that have lost everything appreciate it as well.